Yeah.
Yo.
What's going on, guys?
Yo.
Happy Resurrection Day. Hope you've been having a great day with your family.
O'Reilly's.
We are about to get into this video. What we got?
Hey,
O'Reilly.
No, I'm just joking. I don't know. That's first thing hit me. Like, you know, I mess with car stuff. Hey, so I saw it was in the comment section. Somebody had mentioned, y'all should check out how U.S. stole Hawaii. And then there was some engagement on that person's comment. Like, people didn't appreciate what was said.
What about them stealing Hawaii?
Yeah, and I like when people don't appreciate something because that's the stuff I want to react to.
Right. They stole Hawaii?
They stole Hawaii, but I never thought about it from the aspect of Hawaii being a tropical, separated country. And the whole time we've always looked at Hawaii as part of the U.S. Like this, like it's the U.S., but it's this like a sister of U.S., but it's U.S.
Right.
But it's
U.S. not stole Hawaii.
But I didn't know that. You know, that was so interesting.
No, we didn't learn that in social studies, did we?
So let's see how this
social studies was edited.
40 million years ago, the ocean floor cracked open and molten lava started flowing out. It cooled as it hit the cold ocean water and turned solid, eventually making mountains in the ocean. Those mountains got taller and taller, and soon a chain of islands was born. And then, around 2,000 years ago, a group of people arrived to these islands in canoes. Those communities eventually unified into one kingdom, the Kingdom of Hawaii.
God is so cool, man.
A sovereign nation in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Hawaii became a language, a culture, a national identity. But that sovereignty, that culture, that identity was soon stolen.
And the Hawaiian culture has always been a good-looking set of people. Beautiful-looking people. Just everybody, I ain't gonna say the word, but everybody, the guys, everybody has a good look. The women were beautiful, so that was so interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to know 2,000 years ago, where did they come from?
I don't know, babe.
Captured by a new, bigger country an ocean away.
This is the story of these islands.
For millions of years,
it's like this about to turn sideways to this music.
Yeah.
Hawaii's half-century-old request for statehood is granted.
The Kingdom of Hawaii remained a fairly remote, disconnected country for many years.
Wow.
Until these guys arrived. During the 17 and 1800s...
Now, they got them full. It made this like full colonizer mode. Then it was like full colonized.
Look a little creepy.
Many people from Europe and the United States came to visit Hawaii, mainly on expeditions of exploring the ocean. But the ones that stayed were mainly Americans, who arrived to these islands wanting to talk about Jesus. For the most part, the Kingdom of Hawaii welcomed these visitors. One British explorer even gifted the Hawaiian king a British flag, and Hawaii eventually adopted the British flag into their own flag. There was general friendship and good relations here. The American missionaries who had settled on the island eventually had kids and grandkids. And soon, these missionaries and their descendants weren't just interested in talking about Jesus. They were also interested in building businesses, mainly focused on sugar.
By far the most valuable single product Hawaii can offer in that trade is sugar.
With this increased economic interest, these Americans who had originally come to be missionaries were now much more into sugar. And they...
Look, as I keep seeing that, like I'm saying, you come up there, like I want to preach y'all about the Lord and Savior, and they look over and they see them sugarcane trees, they like, Lord, y'all see that over there? Y'all see that? We can be millionaires. Come on over here. But because that's what happens. People see a resource that the people of the land might not have really. They didn't see, they lived off the resource, but they didn't see it from a monetary standpoint.
Right.
They did what people of European descent have been doing for many centuries, looking at a culture and government that is different than theirs and saying, we think we could do this better. Let us take it from here. And so during the 1800s, these Americans slowly chipped away at the Hawaiian government structure. They were still newcomers in this ancient island nation.
Okay.
They didn't have much power, but that changed quickly.
The Pacific always comes rolling in.
mile upon mile of dazzling white beaches.
By the end of the 1800s, these Jesus Sugar Americans had amassed a huge amount of Hawaii's wealth. And those original missionaries who had come to the island to convert people to their religion years earlier now had grandkids that looked like this. A full-on armed militia of white Hawaiian citizens, descendants of the missionaries, who were eager to get the government out of the way so that they could run the country themselves and help make it more favorable for their sugar businesses.
Wow.
Now remember, these guys were born in Hawaii. They considered themselves Hawaiians. But even still, their loyalty still lie with the country of their ancestors. They were effectively Americans still. By 1893, this local white militia and their political allies were ready for a full-on takeover of the government, which at the time was headed by this woman, Queen Liliuokalani. The sugar missionaries were still a minority, and a full-on overthrow of the government would have been hard by themselves. But luckily for them, they had help. The American ambassador of Hawaii at the time helped coordinate the arrival of an American military ship and troops to show up on the shores of the island of Oahu into the capital city of Honolulu. Up until this point, the conflict in Hawaii was technically internal, meaning it was between the locals and the white missionaries who were technically locals because they were born there. But the moment the U.S. arrived to Honolulu to provide military backup for a government overthrow, it became a full-on military coup sponsored by a foreign power.
Wow.
A cardinal sin in international relations. But even still, the government backed the overthrow. The Queen was forced to give up her power, and they put this guy as the leader of the new Republic of Hawaii. His name was Sanford Dole. His family was huge in the sugar business.
There's a new taste in pineapple from Dole.
And now he was...
Wow. So the Dole man was he was considered the colonizer, and he took over, and then he went. Now his family gonna live fruitful into the end of mankind. You know what I mean?
Well, why didn't they fight for it?
That's a good question. That's what I was wondering. Is that anything like that talked about in here, or the Hawaiian people were just more peaceful people, or were they warrior people?
Let's see what they say.
Was the leader of the country of Hawaii. The locals fought this, but peacefully. They protested. Nearly every adult on the islands signed a petition condemning the takeover.
There it is.
Back in Washington, D.C., a debate began as...
Wow.
Them folks had guns. They were like, nah, I'm good. We straight. They got guns.
But they may have had them too.
I don't know. And let's see if they got them from the Americans, because I don't think that was how you would have weapons if you didn't have people that bring weapons in.
Yeah. That's right.
So what to do with Hawaii now that a bunch of pro-American missionaries turned sugar warriors had grabbed power? Dole himself traveled to D.C. to lobby for the U.S. to take over Hawaii for themselves. But so did a group of local Hawaiians to oppose the American encroachment. The Queen, who was overthrown, wrote a letter demanding to be reinstated as the legitimate leader of the Kingdom of Hawaii. The United States was split on what to do until 1898, when the new president surrounded himself with leaders who kind of loved war and American expansion. And this is what sealed the fate of Hawaii. All of these displays of vehement, peaceful protests by the Hawaiian people were trampled on by a superpower who had bigger guns and an insatiable desire for control.
Yeah. Look at that.
So one summer day in 1898, the U.S. showed up, and the flag of the Kingdom of Hawaii was taken down, and the U.S. flag was raised.
Really?
Hawaii was now officially a possession of the United States of America.
Wow.
With the help of these sugar-loving missionaries, these islands had been plucked from their people and put in the hands of a growing superpower. But stealing land is one thing. The real theft is what happened next. At this point, Hawaii was just a U.S. territory, not a state. But even still, the U.S. began a deep, widespread destruction of Hawaiian way of life. The Hawaiian language was banned in schools, and government and businesses were by law required to be conducted in English. The U.S. began developing land, often on sacred sites, and the history itself was censored.
Wow, Paul. Whoa, I didn't know it was fully colonized like that. I didn't know it was... I never even thought about it was colonized. That's colonization at its full effect.
Yeah, and if you kind of want to stop something and let your way be the predominant way, you're going to have to stifle whatever the natural way was.
Correct. That's
And that cutting off the language so they couldn't communicate in their own language. And because if you don't know what people are saying, you don't know if they're plotting to come and kill you and cut your throat or whatever. So, yeah.
And then Hawaiians come out there like, Tuata! And you be like,
you're so silly.
Going to stab you right in your head.
Man, I'm telling you, that's messed up.
I did not know that's the story of Hawaii. I did not know. It's just always a beautiful, loving people.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
To make it seem as if the Hawaiian people welcomed the U.S. without a fight, much of the real history became inaccessible because it was only documented in the Hawaiian language, which was beginning to die. And then, in 1959, Hawaii became the 50th state of the Union, and quickly became the place we know today.
Stop it.
Meanwhile, Dole Food Company, the company who was perhaps helped the most by this land grab, has become a massive global corporation. By 1993, Hawaii was a full-on part of the United States. That year, President Bill Clinton came out with an apology.
Presidential apology. At the White House yesterday, President Clinton signed a formal letter of apology to the people of Hawaii. He was apologizing on behalf of the U.S. government for the government's involvement 100 years ago in removing the independent Hawaiian monarchy by force.
But despite this horrendous land grab and the pillaging and theft of these islands, there is a little bit of hope here. That spirit of peaceful resistance that led to petitions and protests back in 1893 persisted even after the takeover. The Hawaiian language was delicately preserved through painstaking effort. And today, there are full immersion Hawaiian language public schools. Hawaiian traditions have stayed alive. And last year, Hawaiians showed that they were not willing to give up their sacred sites. They staged a dramatic protest to protect a holy mountain that was slated to be developed on. Hawaii may have been stolen, and attempts made to erase its culture. But while the negative effects of this imperial land grab are wide-reaching, many pillars of this beautiful culture have survived.
That's so great.
Gorgeous culture. Gorgeous culture. Yeah. Wow. So that was great learning about that, man. Even watching that still made me
messed up. But I mean, when they came over there initially to be missionaries, they hadn't planned on. Oh look, my finger was stuck. Okay, they had not planned on. My finger got stuck in my hair. They hadn't planned on overthrowing and wanting to run the government, right?
Them folks went over there saying, "I'm talking about Jesus. Y'all see them cane over there?" And then went over and just went and overthrown.
I would hope not.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They saw opportunity, but that's usually what happens when a person think you're gonna be you don't have any of this. When you're not a superpower, and then a person wants what you have, and they see the opportunity that you don't see, and you way less than our power, people gonna colonize. They're gonna overthrow.
Yeah, that was low down.
Brother, like you got a lot of moles.
That's the headphones.
So that was amazing, and I always wanted to know about how Hawaii become be. It just was weird to me how Hawaii, being this beautiful little island, how is this the U.S. and not its own country?
I want to see if there are other videos out there about it and see, what more could they tell us about it, because that's really interesting.
That's very interesting. I would like to know where those specific islanders, where the Hawaiian culture came from before Hawaii, because they said it was 2,000 people. Was it 2,000 people? They said, and then they were strolling. Where were they strolling from? Where were they visiting from? And before they found the island, where did it come from? And I would like to know that.
Question,
yeah. I always loved. Let me tell you, man. I always loved my Hispanic cultures. Folks, I always loved that Hawaiian culture. I never knew much about it, but I used to love the spirit of the people. And not used to, I do. But that's honestly, I do some research on that. But interesting. So now we know how U.S. took over, and then now it's part of the U.S.
Right. Missionaries.
I bet you what,
sugar cane.
Right. If they still had been their own country, I promise you, the cost of vacationing in Hawaii will be a fraction of the cost.
It is. Yeah. Well,
because everything is Americanized, they got everything inflated. But I bet you if it was still their own country, it'd be like you going over what's going to like Cabo or something, or it'd be, it'd be better price. In Hawaii, it's very expensive to really enjoy yourself out there.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
We haven't been there yet.
Haven't been. We're going.
Let's go.
But I want to know how the Asian culture became so dominant, because the Asian culture is you got the Hawaiian culture, and you got a huge number of Asian culture out there.
Okay. Well, that I didn't know either.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's interesting.
You got anything to say?
No, I mean, it was just like a clean sweep. They came like it was plotted almost.
It was very clean.
They came, but it doesn't sound like it was plotted, but the way they moved appeared to be plotted, because they came over, said what they needed to say. Well, maybe they were missionaries. Let's say they had good intentions. They went over and realized how dope the place was, and was like, hey,
we want it.
We want this, but still, can we all just get along? But no, that's not how it usually goes.
I wonder how many Hawaiians were on the land, like true Hawaiian Pacific Island people. How many of them were on the land in Hawaii before it was taken over? Because if 2,000 came and then you start having kids and populate the island, how many people were there before it was taken over?
Question. And then if it had not have been taken over and industrialized, I wonder how it would be today.
I think what we should have done as far as language wise in America is mandatory for everybody to learn to, of course, your natural English, but it's mandatory for everybody to learn Spanish. I think in this country you should have been forced to know Spanish.
Okay.
But anyway,
that was good, guys. I want to learn more. Good in a way where it taught me something new. Yeah, I learned something completely new.
Yeah, I love it, and that was exciting to me.
Yeah,
I always wanted to know about that. And I can't wait.
So now we got to dive in a little bit more.
I'm about to dive in.
All right, guys. So let us know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to stop it.
Anyway.
Inside joke, y'all.
Yeah, we goofy.
Subscribe to the channel, guys. Leave us some comments below, and don't forget to share this video. Love you. See you in the next video. Still making the faces.
Hey, before we go.
What?
So I caught my wife coming out of her sleep, right? She was like this.
I was done, y'all. I was so tired yesterday.
I don't know what happened to those follicles that keep your eyes straight, but she woke up like this. Oh.
Look, and I felt myself, y'all, waking up like that for real. I was like, darn, Joy.
All right, y'all.
You was out. And when you told me that, I didn't do nothing but laugh, because that's exactly how I felt.
All right, y'all, man. Bye.